Sweet home we call Krakow. It's the city of the kings.
What up, everybody? This is Holy Joe Rock and Roll in the Bonsai Test Kitchen with a quick video. Nihilism versus realism. Now first, let's define what nihilism means. Nihilism means the basically belief in nothing, that nothing matters. The non-belief in any kind of religion or any kind of values or morals, right? Realism is the belief in what is happening now, what's really out there, and dealing with the reality of the situation. Now, the reason I bring this up is the stock market just closed today at a near record high, but CNBC is reporting that it's the biggest close or the biggest gain of the summer. Okay, now yesterday, of course, it was down 100 points. Today it's up 132 points, something like that. This is Monday, I think the 14th of August, whatever the Monday is. Is it the 14th? No, that's not. Anyway. Now, the reason why this is important is because I have a friend who, I don't even know if he's a nihilist or not, but almost every week, even twice a week, he sends me videos of how this stock market or that stock market is going to collapse, right? Or how there's going to be a nuclear war, or how, whatever, there's always something negative. He just is so negative. There's going to be this outbreak of bubonic plague or whatever it is. So negative. And actually, I don't mind the videos because, or the links, because it helps me to question. You know, it's always good to question what do you believe, and you need to have the opposite opinion to challenge your beliefs, right? Otherwise, you're just going to be in an echo chamber of people who parrot the same beliefs that you have. That's not healthy either. You need to have a little bit of a challenge, a little bit of pushback to validate your position, right? And to examine your position, make sure that you're right, right? Make sure that you are realistic in your beliefs. Now, I've always said that these assholes, like a Peter Schiff, like the doom, boom, and gloom guy, I forgot his name, I think they're both Jews. Now, I'm not hating on the Jews, but why are these guys always preaching the negative boom, doom, and gloom shit? Now, there may have been some realistic expectation of boom and doom under the Obama administration because he hated business and he overregulated and he signed so many illegal, unconstitutional executive orders that you could understand that. In that context, there was a problem. But under the Trump administration, who is removing regulations, putting America first, really working hard to bring back the economy from the edge of stall, you know, from basically this 1% GDP growth, now coming up close to 3%. In the last quarter, I think it was it 3%, close to 3%. Jobs are coming back, and look, the earnings of these companies is getting better, right? The earnings is getting better, and that's the mother's blood of stock prices when you consider the price to earnings ratio, the PE ratio, right? If earnings go up, the prices of the stocks can go up, right? That's really the only reason, okay, that's the only reason why stocks go up normally, right? There's always bubbles and whatever else. Now, I'm not saying there can't be a correction. All I'm saying is that for you people who are invested in the stock market, probably you are without even knowing it if you have a 401k at work or if you have any kind of investments. Maybe you bought stocks from your company, employee purchase program. You have some exposure to the market, okay? Or if you're working for a big public company, your bonuses may be, you might have some stock options, right? So you are, over 50% of Americans at least have exposure to the stock market in one way or the other. Now, of course, I've always said this is not stock advice, but I do play one on TV, and I wanted to say that the best advice I've always had was that you want to invest in the stock market with risk capital, right? Now, I know that there's a lot, and that means money that you can afford to lose, and it's usually between 5 and 10% of your take-home pay. Okay, now a lot of people are already putting that into their 401ks as part of their retirement, and that's at least they're trying to save for retirement. Okay, last statistic I saw was something like, I don't know, there's millions of people who have maybe $15,000 in their savings account, and they're like age 59 and higher, which is really like 1 year's savings, 1 year's money to live on for 1 year in the U.S. I'm just saying, it's crazy. The only way to make money, unless you're making a lot of money on the job, but then even then, to really compound on that, is to invest in equities, in my opinion. Because CDs, treasury bills, and bonds are just not paying, they're not paying the returns. And so in a way, this current economy and the way it's really been for the last maybe 15 years, it is forcing people into the stock market. Now, remember Rich Dad, Poor Dad? His second book was The Coming Collapse, because he believed that as the baby boomers retired, they would suck out all their money from their 401ks, because the requirement under the law, at least the current law, is that they have to, after a certain age, I think by age 70, they have to be withdrawing like a minimum of 2% or 3% from their accounts every year, otherwise they're going to be penalized. So his thesis was that as these baby boomers start sucking their money out of their accounts, there's going to be a collapse in the stock market. And that's just bullshit, because think about it. Let's say you invested in AT&T, for example, right? And you're getting a, I don't know, I think it's a 3.5% dividend, and you're retired, and the money's in your retirement account. So if you don't want to cash out, but you want to live off the dividends, let's just say you're one of those wealthier 60-year-old plus people, 65-year-old person. Yeah, you might sell or transfer your AT&T stocks out of your 401k and then reinvest them into just a normal stock account to continue to get the dividends, right? Because you love living off the dividends. Maybe that's how you organized your lifestyle. So there's not an automatic belief, there shouldn't be an automatic belief that people will just liquidate. Like you liquidate and just go, where are they going to put their money? If you've been invested in the stock market for 30, 40 years and you've been a successful investor, because not all investments are going to be successful, but you realize that certain stocks are good investments and have been good investments. I'm just saying, I don't want to single out AT&T, but I'm just saying like a phone company, like a utility, like a tobacco company, like a oil company. Not all the oil companies, we've had some serious problems recently, but you get the idea, right? So you've had good luck with this company, you want to stay with the company, maybe you pull out the 3% and then you reinvest 2% or whatever it is, right? So I always had a problem with this thesis, and supposedly 10,000 baby boomers are retiring every day, and the stock market continues to go up. So his thesis is busted. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Bam! Thumbs down on that. So I'm not trying to encourage all of you to invest in the U.S. stock market, but I am trying to say that, look, markets go up, markets go down, but earnings are the mother's milk of stock prices. That's not just me. What was his name? Cavuto. Cavuto would always, I think it was Cavuto. Anyways, one of these other guys would always say that. And my experience is that it's true. And with Trump's America First policy and what he's trying to do, as you see it happening, whether you want to see it or not, America First means that American companies are going to do better. When American companies do better, earnings on American companies go up. Only about 20% of American companies have serious export exposure. Okay, think about that. Think about that. The U.S. economy is like 17, 18 trillion dollars, and I think we export around $500 billion, and we import whatever it is, like $4 trillion worth of shit. So think about that. The American-focused companies that have very little export exposure are going to do well in an environment when America First is the policy. So if you're a nihilist, you don't believe in anything, you don't think shit's going to happen good for America, think again. All right? Think again. Unless something like a JFK situation happens with Trump, which I seriously pray to God that does not happen, because there will probably be a civil war in the U.S. if that does happen. But anything short of that, I think it's going to be a good 8 years. Trump will be reelected as the economy continues to get better, at least on paper. And look, it's all about jobs too. If you have a job, you're going to feel better about yourself. You're going to feel better about the president. You're going to probably reelect him, and it's just going to get better. At least during these next 8 years, we'll see what happens. But you got a person who really is truly a patriot, an American first person, who really wants Americans to do better and America to do better. So I'm Holy Joe Rock and Roll. This has been Live and Unscripted. My take on nihilism versus realism, what's really happening out there. Reminding you to always make it happen for the captain. Investing in stocks, especially ones that pay a dividend, is a way to diversify your income and not be dependent on declining YouTube revenues, which basically I do this not for the money. Okay, YouTube doesn't pay me shit, basically. So I don't do this for the money. I do this for you. Okay, make it happen for the captain, because you're ultimately the captain.
Sweet home we call Krakow. It's the city of the kings. Sweet home we call Krakow. Lord, I'm never leaving